So once again, everybody has their own way of doing everything, and I'm showing you mine. Other people can show you shortcuts or changes or, hey, this is how I do it. So always keep that in mind, especially with computer stuff. I'm working on a Macintosh. People work on Windows. Windows it's a great program, so I don't buy into the one is better than the other debate. They're all good. But one thing I do have strong feelings about is efficiency and finding your stuff quickly. I think a few people in the comm department teach browsing for photos by using Adobe Bridge. Personally, I can't stand the program. I think it's slow. I think I'd rather ride a camel in the desert on a hot day than use Bridge. So I want to show you what I do instead. Down here in my Photos folder, I've got a lot of stuff in here. I've been a photographer for a very long time. But here, for example, I have this DILTS Uploads folder. In here is a lot of pictures. There's Ed. We've got, I forget that guy's name. Anyway, this is from an opening at the Fullerton Museum Center of an exhibit by Henry Diltz, who is arguably one of the most iconic photographers from the 60s and 70s. Many pictures you have seen, unless you've been hiding under a rock. Like if you're a Doors fan, he shot this picture. The funny story about this picture, well, it's pretty funny. Anyway, Henry had a show in Fullerton, and these are some of the pictures from it. But you can see we've got a lot of pictures here in this file. I've got actually, 74. So I'm going to close this window. I want to look through them kind of quickly. Some people use Bridge. I do not. I, in fact, will use either Lightroom or Photo Mechanic. Now, to switch programs, by the way, if you didn't know this, when you are in a Macintosh, you can see which programs you're using quickly by going to Command-Tab. Oh, it's on the wrong monitor. Shoot. Well, you get a little bar, but it's actually on a different monitor than the one we're recording on, so sorry about that. I'll just go to Lightroom here real quick. Here's Lightroom, and here is that same or a similar folder with a lot of the pictures from that same night. I can double click on them, use my arrow keys to scroll through them. Sometimes it takes a moment for them to come into focus if they're low res files. By the way, this is Phyllis Fender. You ever heard of Fender guitars? Her husband Leo was the guy who made them. All here in Fullerton. That's Tom Elliott of Past Times. There's Susie Ditmar. Anyway, enough of that stuff. I can use the left and right arrows in Lightroom, to scroll through them and make some selections. I can also make some very Photoshop-like adjustments using the develop settings in Lightroom. In fact, I know a lot of photographers that don't even use Photoshop anymore. They use only Lightroom. But the main point of me showing you this is that Lightroom is a good way to organize photos. You can scroll through collections here on the right and left side. I did a search for DILTs, and that's how we have all of those. But pretty much everything that's here, you can also view other ways. Now I'm going to hit Command-H to hide Lightroom. I'm going to hit Command-Tab again. Oh, wrong screen again. And here's Photo Mechanic. Photo Mechanic, let me put this into our screen here. And Photo Mechanic is actually what a lot of news photographers use because it is crazy fast. You can go through and scroll through pictures incredibly fast. Bridge doesn't do this. Preview doesn't do this. Photo Mechanic is awesome. And if you're willing to spend $150 or whatever it is, and you're serious about photography, I really recommend Photo Mechanic. The other thing that it does is, let's escape this, is that you can caption everything in just a few keystrokes. You can check them, you can rate them, you can not do high-tech editing. You still do that in Photoshop, but you can get to the pictures in Photoshop directly from Photo Mechanic. Anyway, it's all about finding what you're looking for quickly. And a big part of that also is naming your files well. You'll notice that I know a lot of us use or just let the camera defaults of img_12345.6.jpg stick. That's what our cell phones do. That's what camera defaults do. It's bogus. Don't do it. Get into good habits. We'll have another video on that another time, but the main takeaway from the moment is that Photo Mechanic, Lightroom, a few other programs are really good for browsing. Adobe Bridge isn't one of them. Adobe, of course, will never tell you that, but what do they know? All right, we'll have another video in a minute.